Last year, French politicians debated a controversial proposal to block access to the internet for those people found to be downloading content provided illegally after repeated warnings. The proposal wasn't adopted in its original form in the end, but it sparked a huge debate about intellectual property rights, or IPR, on the internet. This week, the Legal Affairs Committee here in Parliament voted on a resolution demanding improved enforcement of IPR in the single market. Authored by French MEP Marielle Gallo, the resolution calls on the European Commission to assess the effectiveness of existing legislation in which she believes there are gaps. It also highlights the need for a more in-depth evaluation of the effects of online piracy on the creative sector, employment and the economy in general. There are independent and reliable statistics out there, she says. In 2008, 186,000 jobs were lost as a result of lack of enforcement of intellectual property rights. By 2015, this will rise to 1.2 million, and the creative sectors represent roughly 7% of the EU's GDP, according to Gallo. So these are figures that can't be ignored. Existing intellectual property laws date from 2004, when no one could have predicted the explosion of content being made available on the internet. And the question of how intellectual property can or should be protected in the digital environment hasn't really been tackled.
We're not talking about transposing the French Adopi law in Europe. I've been repeating that for months in vain, but that is really not what I'm suggesting, because we've reflected. The Adopi law broke the mould, but as the Spanish who are making laws on this are saying, someone had to make a start on thinking about these issues.
The problem is that the businesses selling content online illegally by far outnumber those who obey existing laws. So the only real internal market is an illegal one, with major content providers slow to come up with new business models for the online environment, and content creators losing out. Gallo's draft resolution proved to be as controversial as the French Loi Adopi. She led intense negotiations with all the political groups in Parliament, including representatives of the Swedish Pirate Party. They wanted to remove all references to digital piracy and restrict the scope of the resolution to dealing with counterfeit products. But Gallo insists that those who sell music online illegally, for example, are infringing copyright and also disrespecting the right of artists and authors to choose how they want to disseminate and market their work. This doesn't mean sanctioning teenagers who have downloaded music, though, she stressed.
The end consumer won't be sanctioned. It's not because he downloaded something. It's first and foremost about educating. Once the consumer realises that he's damaging artists, that he's damaging an entire part of or an economic sector that is huge, we will have made huge advances.
The resolution was adopted by a significant majority in the Legal Affairs Committee in a vote this morning, auguring well for a final vote in plenary in July. The result is significant as it recognises that selling content illegally online is an infringement of copyright and that protecting copyright is essential to our economy. But the work only starts here. Europe's policymakers must now discuss not only ways to enforce the protection of authors in a way that also allows the development of innovative business models, ones that respect our fundamental laws, but also how to increase awareness among consumers of the effects of their choices. We'll be keeping you up to date on our efforts on eppgroup.eu. See you again soon.